It's a WRAL weather alert day. Later this afternoon, we'll have a round of thunderstorms. I'll show you what to expect and the timeline.
And new parental powers. Lawmakers looking closer at a ban on social media for preteens and expanding parents' rights at the doctor's office. Why they stand out today as proposals most likely to become law.
Plus, Real ID deadline. You got 2 days before you need that little teeny tiny star in your ID if you want to fly, among other things. The busy days expected at the DMV. And as I said that, people started scrambling, looking through their wallets, through their purses. Do I have mine?
Do I have the star?
Better have it soon, unless you want an even longer DMV line. Hey, thanks for waking up with us this Monday morning. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Check out this cool shot of downtown Raleigh. We are talking about the fog that is starting to lift. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio. I love how you have your hair up, Elizabeth, because it gets so big.
It does. I mean, the humidity, I left it down for a little bit and then it just got into a giant frizz ball. So I was like, okay, time for the ponytail. We do have a weather alert day for this afternoon. Lunchtime to 6 o'clock, a few isolated storms could produce 1 or 2 reports of wind damage or hail. This is going to be isolated at best. It's likely along and east of US 1, which is most of the viewing area. The timeline for this, again, right around lunchtime, 12 to 1, and then it tapers off between, say, 5 and 6 o'clock. And I'll walk you through it on Futurecast in just a few minutes. Here's a live look at Franklinton. Franklinton was one of the areas that really started to get foggy quickly this morning. And now, even in Franklinton, that fog is dissipating nicely. 63 is our temperature. Our dew point is 60, so that's creeping up. There's lots of moisture here in the atmosphere. Visibility is improving. We still have a quarter-mile visibility down in Clinton, but everywhere else that visibility is rapidly climbing. Taking a look at the radar, overnight last night we had some scattered thunderstorms. Of course, we still have the dense fog advisory until 9 a.m., but here at 8 o'clock we're seeing some very rapid improvement. It'll be a warm afternoon with a high of around 80 degrees. I'll show you how much rain we could see with this system today coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now. Let's check on that rapid improvement by checking in with Laura Levine and photographer Michael Joyner. They've been driving around Wake County all morning long just to give you a firsthand account of what's going on. So, Laura, good morning. Are you seeing an improvement in the visibility?
Ken, good morning. We just hopped on 540 now, heading back in the area of Raleigh. We're actually in Raleigh now. And the last time we were here was about an hour and a half ago where we saw that really dense fog. And as you can see, we are seeing some improvements here at 8 o'clock this morning, where many drivers are now hitting the roads, heading to work or maybe dropping the kids off at school this morning. You can see, however, that there is still fog out there, so be mindful of that low visibility, but again, some improvements out here. You want to make sure that you're really giving yourself enough distance still between the vehicles, between you and your car. And that's because dense fog can, of course, limit that visibility to a quarter mile or less. But again, we're going to continue monitoring the road conditions for you today. And Ken, I know you have a look at the traffic all over the triangle.
Yeah, some really good advice, Laura. Thanks for sharing that. We do have first responders continuing to work this crash on US 1 North near 1010 Road. And actually, the crash scene is right in this grassy area right there, but traffic is still getting through at US 1 North. I think what we're seeing there, really onlooker delay is what we're seeing. But keep that in mind. You're about to head out US 1, part of your morning commute. You can see the improvements that Elizabeth just mentioned in terms of the fog as we look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. In terms of other major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. You're looking at an 8-minute delay coming in from Capitol Boulevard, just a 5-minute delay on US 1, I-87, I should say, coming in from Nightdale. Over in Durham, very little to no delays heading into the Bull City this morning. You get ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
To be on the go. Thank you, Ken. Authorities say 2 people suffered minor injuries in a crash this morning in Durham, and this happened around 2:30. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there to capture this video you're seeing here. Notice all the damage to this vehicle, this SUV. It crashed into a tree near Hope Valley Road and Garrett Road, and this happened in the parking lot of a real estate company. But police say they don't believe alcohol was a factor here.
You could face even longer lines at the DMV in the coming days. The Real ID deadline is on Wednesday. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the DMV on Avon Ferry Road in Raleigh. And Kelsey, they expect a busy week. It's busy there right now.
Yes, Michelle, we've seen people waiting in line since 5 o'clock this morning, so you can take a look at the line, what it looks like right now. So several people have been able to go inside, but a few are still, or rather several are still out here waiting. But the DMV tried to cut down on wait times, but honestly, this could only get worse now that people have 2 days left to get a Real ID. Tuesday, you will need a real ID or another acceptable form of ID to fly in the U.S. If you've gotten a new ID in the last few years, it could already be a real ID. If you're not sure if you have one, just look for a star in the upper right corner of your driver's license. Last month, the North Carolina DMV expanded their work hours at 42 locations. Now, most DMV offices are open 10 hours a day statewide. But that still may not be enough to cut wait times as people are scrambling to meet the May 7th deadline. Tanti Thompson started waiting in line at 5 o'clock this morning.
I'm planning on going out of town. I already have my plane ticket, so this was something, a necessity that needed to be done.
We did see her go inside about an hour ago, and she still hasn't come out just yet. But the DMV says they will still issue real IDs after that May 7th deadline. So there's really no rush to get one unless you're planning to fly soon. So coming up in the next half hour, 5 on Your Side will explain how your passport may come in handy if you miss that deadline. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
North Carolina lawmakers have a deadline this week for certain bills. It's called Crossover Week. It's used as a way to separate bills with a chance at passing from the hundreds of others that don't. Today, House members are expected to consider more than 20 bills, and one of those would give parents more access to their children's medical records and conversations with doctors.
Under current North Carolina law, teens have the ability to go to a doctor and get medical treatment without parental permission or consent or notification for 4 different things. That is the treatment of pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, substance abuse problems, or emotional disorder, let's say behavioral health crisis. What this bill would do would be to remove that right for anything except for pregnancy.
Supporters say parents need more access to this information, but critics fear children won't get the help they need if they know their parents will have access to those records. Another bill up for debate is a ban on social media accounts for children under the age of 14 without a parent's approval. This bill would hold social media companies accountable for loopholes. And we, of course, will be watching all of these bills closely, so make sure to tune in to WRAL this afternoon from 4 to 7:30 for any updates.
Homeowners in a Raleigh neighborhood were rattled by the sound of gunshots during a large late-night party at a rental home. This happened around 1 o'clock yesterday morning at a house on Bigot Boulevard. That's near the city's 5 Points area. Neighbors shared video of the large police response shortly after the shots rang out. Neighbors also showed us pictures of the crime scene tape officers put up around the scene while they investigated. One neighbor's Ring doorbell video, it captured the moment someone fired shots. That's so scary. Raleigh police say no one was shot, but one girl was hurt while running away. People who live nearby say there needs to be a better vetting process for the short-term renters to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
Durham police say a 16-year-old boy died after being shot yesterday afternoon, and this happened on North Holman Street. Our cameras were there as police investigated and wrapped up their scene about 9-ish hours of investigating time total. We spoke with family members of that teenager who was killed.
It's just sad. Nobody ever wants to have to, deal with anything like this, so it's just sad. It's heartbreaking.
A cousin of the victim says his name was Jaleel, and Durham police say they believe this was an isolated case.
Security vulnerabilities in Power School undetectable by North Carolina or school leaders. Earlier this year, WRAL told you a hacker stole data from the student information system. Since then, we've learned Power School paid a ransom and watched the hacker delete the data in a video. That data included social security numbers and other personal data like addresses and grades. State officials say annual reviews did not detect any security flaws with Power School or its contractors. One parent says her trust is broken with school leaders.
There's no way that they could give me that security because they've completely lost all of my trust. What they can do going forward, don't ask for anything personal like that.
Who is protecting your child's data and the fix Power School is offering teachers and families? Our months-long investigation into the Power School data breach. That's tonight at 6.
It's very detailed. Do not miss it. Flags will be at half staff in North Carolina today for National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day. The day is actually observed on May 4th, which was yesterday, but because yesterday was Sunday, the day will be observed statewide today.
One of the most prominent voices who called for independent testing of NC State's Poe Hall has died of cancer. Darren Mazer was one of the more than 200 people who worked or studied in Poe Hall and later developed cancer. NC State closed Poe Hall in 2023 after testing revealed cancer-causing chemicals throughout the building. Last spring, Mazer successfully fought for the right to gain access into Poe Hall and conduct testing independent of the university. He was 58 years old. WRAL has been covering Poe Hall extensively. You can read more on our website, WRAL.com.
Today, St. Andrews University will officially close its doors. The small private university in Laurinburg, North Carolina, ended operations at the end of the spring semester. St. Andrews University is a branch campus of Weber International University, and the campus president says financial issues caused the closure. The Southern Association of Colleges and Schools and Commissions on Colleges revoked the university's accreditation, and that was back in 2007.
In Person County, residents are pushing back against a second methane gas plant near Hyco Lake. Duke Energy will share more about their plan during a public hearing today. The power plant would be supplied by a huge methane gas pipeline known as T15. Residents are concerned because the pipeline's path would take it within a few hundred feet of Woodland Elementary School, which would be at risk if any gas leak occurs. The hearing is tonight at 7 at the Person County Courthouse. Time now is 8:11. Flight delay woes. Travelers heading through Newark Airport are facing hours-long wait times. The staffing shortages causing headaches for people looking to catch a flight.
And truck dangling over Kentucky roadway. A closer look at this and how rescuers were able to save the driver inside.
Out here on the patio, some beautiful weather. We take a live look at Apex where it's nice and clear. We still have some patchy fog in a few places. And so our big story later this afternoon, though, is our chance for severe thunderstorms. I'll walk you through it. I'm out here on the patio right now. We do still have a dense fog advisory in effect until 9 o'clock, but we're seeing a lot of improvement all across the area. But just wanted to touch on that. There's still some fog hanging in a couple of places. One of those North Hills. We still have a lot of low cloud cover and fog there in parts of the triangle. We do have a WRAL weather alert day. Today from noon to 6 o'clock, we'll have the potential for a few isolated storms. One or two of those could produce some wind damage or some hail. It is not likely to be widespread, and it's mainly along and east of US 1. Here's a look at that severe weather threat. Really from the triangle area eastward, and the farther east you go, the better chance you would have of seeing some of those severe storms. Here's a look at the timeline, getting ramped up at about lunchtime and then ramping down by about 5 or 6 o'clock. I'll show you how much rain we could see coming up.
Well, Elizabeth, it's such good news that things are beginning to really get better as we take a live look with the help of photographer Michael Jorney. He's with Laura Levine this morning. They've been driving around all over Wake County. Right now, they're on I-540, giving us a look at what they're seeing this morning. It's a situation where they're also seeing that things have definitely improved quite a bit. You can see it right there. Just off in the distance, just a little bit of fog, but a little bit ago, it was bumper-to-bumper traffic there. You get ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated with these changing weather conditions. 101.5 HD3.
All right, we're going to show you this. A very delicate rescue underway to save a driver stuck in the cab of a tractor trailer truck. You see how this is dangling over the bridge, the cab right there? Well, this happened in Kentucky over I-65 in Louisville. Investigators say the truck crashed yesterday morning after the driver lost control. And as you see here, fire and rescue teams managed to remove the driver from the cab and then get him on the ground. They said that he was in a good mood after being rescued. I mean, who wouldn't be, right? Well, this operation took about 2 hours to pull off. But as for how that driver lost control, that's still being investigated.
Wow, that is crazy. All right, police say they foiled what could have been a deadly bomb plot aimed at Lady Gaga and a concert in Brazil. 2 suspects, including the person believed to be the ringleader, are under arrest. Brazilian authorities say the plan was made over social media. The suspects said they wanted to use a homemade bomb and Molotov cocktails to kill concert goers. Police say they were mainly targeting the LGBTQ community.
Investigators in Cincinnati are looking into what could be a revenge killing of a deputy. 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. is charged with aggravated murder. A Cincinnati police officer shot and killed his 18-year-old son on Thursday. The next day, investigators say Hinton killed a deputy from another department with his car, and police say that happened just hours after Hinton met with Cincinnati police to review body camera video of his son's death.
The longtime head of RDU International Airport has died. The airport says John Brantley died on Friday. He was the director of the airport from 1982 until 2011. He led the construction of a 10,000-foot runway, American Airlines hub facilities, roadways and parking garages, Terminal 2, and redevelopment of Terminal 1. Brantley was 82 years old.
Travelers are dealing with major delays at Newark Airport in New Jersey. The shortage of certified air traffic controllers is affecting flights all across the country. At Newark, the FAA put a ground delay program into effect last night. Basically, they do this to control the amount of traffic at airports where demand could go beyond what the airport can handle. Flights were being delayed an average of almost 4 hours. Can you imagine? Delays like this, though, have been going on for over a week at Newark Airport.
Our weather has been in a bit of a holding pattern in the last couple of days. Meteorologist Chris Michaels explains what the Omega block is and how it's affected North Carolina since last Friday, Chris.
This is kind of a legit thing here because it looks like the Greek letter Omega, where you've got one dip in the jet stream over the desert Southwest, a rise or a ridge in the jet stream over the central U.S., and then another dip in the eastern U.S. So we've fallen under the influence of that second area of low pressure for the past few days. Low pressure systems, they're storm systems. That's why we've seen scattered storms day by day, basically since this past Friday. So it is kind of this amplified pattern. It's a holding pattern, and it takes something very minor to disturb it and kind of get it all out of whack. And that happens Tuesday and Wednesday. So that first area of low pressure goes to the northeast, will dry out Tuesday and Wednesday. This second area of low pressure then comes in from the west by Friday. And so that's why we see the break in storm chances tomorrow and Wednesday and a rise in storm chances again by Friday. But in terms of today's storm chances and the WRAL weather alert day, we'll have that hour by hour timing with Elizabeth coming up shortly.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. The 2025 Wings Over Wayne Festival is in the books. It wrapped up yesterday at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base after a weekend of fun. Wet weather did not keep people away from catching the last day of action.
It was an amazing show and I loved it.
This was awesome. Best Thunderbird show ever. It was great.
Even in the rain?
Yes, even in the rain.
It was awesome, as always.
It looks awesome. People had a lot of fun. Wings Over Wayne is North Carolina's largest free air show. The next one is happening in 2027. How cool is that? And despite the rain, people still went out and had a good time. We also have a chance for some rain today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio. Sunny now, but that could change, Elizabeth.
Yes, we are looking at scattered thunderstorms popping up starting right around lunchtime. So if you have outdoor things to do, you want to get it done probably before noon. It's an isolated threat. It's a level 1 risk. So a lot of people may not even see these storms, but a couple of them could produce some localized wind damage and or hail, especially along and east of US 1. And that is most of the viewing area. Taking a look at the models, it really looks like more of the focus could be right along the I-95 corridor. So the farther east you go, the better chance that you might have of seeing some isolated wind damage. Here's a look at the hour-by-hour rain chances. Between noon and 1, we go from 40 to 60%, and then back down to 50 to 40% by around 5 o'clock or so. So it'll be fairly short-lived just during the afternoon hours. This is a look at futurecast. We'll pause it right there at lunchtime, and you can see a few cells potentially around Clinton and Goldsboro, maybe around Roxboro. I'll pause it again at 3 o'clock, and you can see just not a lot of coverage out there for us this afternoon. And then by 5 o'clock, it looks like it's mostly gone out of the area, and that's going to be it for a while. We're going to settle into a quieter, drier weather pattern. The next chance of rain we have, the next big weather maker, comes as a low pressure system moves in on Friday. That's going to bring us a better chance for rain, but it does look like we'll end up drying out by Mother's Day. As a matter of fact, Saturday looks dry too. Good looking weekend. So 60% chance today and a 50% chance on Friday. Those are our chances for rain for the next 7 days. How much rain total? Probably going to be around a quarter of an inch or so. Unless you find yourself under one of those cells, there may be a few people who see slightly higher totals. North Hills still has some low clouds hanging overhead. We have the dense fog advisory in effect until 9, so it's about to expire, and visibilities are really starting to come up. Everybody's above a quarter of a mile right now, which is good news. Our highs stay in the 80s up until Thursday, and then Friday with that next band of rain, we see a big drop in our temperature with a high of 71. Ken?
Well, Elizabeth, with the sun coming up, we are seeing an improvement in terms of the visibility. Let's get right to WRAL's Laura Levine, photographer Michael Joyner, giving us a clear shot. They've been all over Wake County this morning, but you can see right now nothing but blue skies in this particular shot. They've been on I-540 for the last 20, 30 minutes or so. So things are definitely improving. Back in the WRAL Traffic Center, we continue to watch this situation here on US 1 North. That's the crash scene off in that grassy area. This US 1 North at 1010 Road, then the Cary Apex area. Right now, what you're seeing in terms of the slowdown, that the onlooker delay, but traffic is moving nicely in those northbound lanes. Similarly, we can see the fog is definitely dissipating here as we look live at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. Those westbound lanes moving away from us. Probably you're looking at a 2 to 3 minute delay. Nothing that's going to really make you late this morning. In terms of the other major routes coming into the capital city, just about an 8-minute delay coming in from Nidale and a 6-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken.
Real ID deadline starting Wednesday. You'll need a star on your license to take even domestic flights without a passport. The backup's at the DMV as people get their IDs updated.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. As you can tell behind me, dealing with a little bit of fog this morning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the weather patio. Sunny in the WRAL Gardens, Elizabeth.
It is beautiful right here. We had just a little cloud start to pass over the sun there, but it's been nice and sunny out here for the last hour or so. Dense fog advisory expires soon at 9 o'clock. And we look around the area, you can see Apex, nothing but blue sky, looking gorgeous. There are only a few patches of fog remaining. Today is a WRAL weather alert day for a chance of some severe storms this afternoon between noon and 6 o'clock. It will be isolated at best, maybe 1 or 2 severe reports for damaging wind and hail. But most of the area is under a level 1 risk for severe storms.
Elizabeth, we have the usual congestion building on all our major routes, but nothing that's going to make you late. I do want to focus on this crash right now on US 1 North near 1010 Road. The tow truck driver just showed up, and the crash is actually over in that grassy area right there. It's a situation we've been monitoring, but right now the only delays we're seeing is onlooker delay in those US 1 northbound lanes, but things are flowing nicely. But really and truly, for the most part, all these major routes we're seeing the usual slowdown and a real improvement in those visibility conditions.
All right, thank you, Ken. And in addition to the storm chances, right now much of the viewing area under a dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. You're looking live in Raleigh. You can see the fog starting to lift as we get closer to that advisory ending. And expect long wait lines at the DMV this week as the Real ID deadline coming up in 2 days. Starting Wednesday, you will need a Real ID to fly in the U.S. without a passport. The DMV says they'll still issue Real IDs until past the May 7th deadline, so there's no rush to get one if you're not planning to fly anytime soon. Next on Fox 50, a look at security video of an armed robbery in Harnett County.
And we do have a WRAL weather alert day this afternoon. We'll have the potential for scattered showers and thunderstorms coming up. I'll walk you through the timeline.
Gunned down at a gas station. Authorities are looking for the person they say shot and killed a local clerk. We're going to show you more of this surveillance video at the center of an investigation.
And the Real ID deadline. 2 days left until you'll need a new ID or another form of identification to fly in the U.S. What the DMV is doing to prepare for long lines this week. Kelsey Coffey is at a DMV, already long lines there this morning, so we'll go to her in just a couple minutes. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Chris Levingood. Yeah, we'll get to her in just a second. We do want to go out to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner because behind us, look kind of spooky in downtown Raleigh, but behind you, clear in the Azalea Garden.
Isn't that crazy? And we're, 2 miles from downtown Raleigh right here. The fog that's remaining is in just small pockets. The fog advisory is in effect until 9, but, I figure that Weather Service may drop it early. This is a look at our weather alert day information. The timeline noon to 6 o'clock, just isolated storms that could produce some damaging wind or some hail, mainly along and east of US 1. Here's a look at the hour by hour rain chances. By lunchtime, we're starting to see some of those cells developing and then tapering off and moving on out by around 5 or 6 o'clock. Taking a live look at Apex, it looks beautiful here with lots of sunshine down Salem Street. 63 is our temperature, but our dew point is 60. That's not terrible, but there's a good bit of moisture in the atmosphere. I ended up having to put my hair in a ponytail because it's touch muggy out here. Our visibility is looking great at this point. We don't have any pockets left where visibility is down to a quarter of a mile. We did have some thunderstorms overnight last night, and those have all moved out. Our dense fog advisory expires in just 30 minutes, and we'll see a high this afternoon of around 80 degrees. Once all this moves out, we're going to have dry weather for a while, but there is another weather maker by the time we get closer to the weekend. I'll show you coming up, Ken.
8:31, Elizabeth. Visibility definitely improving as we take this live look with the help of photographer Michael Jordan. He's been with Laura Levine all morning long, driving around Wake County. Right now, they're on I-40, and you can see really things have definitely improved rather nicely. So if you're getting ready to head out this morning, just know that those visibility conditions have definitely improved. I want to bring your attention to this situation here on US 1 North. It's a situation where we've been looking at this crash off in the grassy area. The tow truck just showed up a little while ago, and at least traffic is getting through there on US 1 North. Now, we talked about those pockets of fog. We're seeing it right now on I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You can see it right there in the distance once you get past this bend. But again, those are just pockets of fog that we're seeing this morning. In terms of the major routes coming into the capital city, you're looking at a 6-minute delay. Nothing that's going to make you late this morning. Very little to no delays heading into the Bull City as well. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. Staying with the Bull City, 2 people have minor injuries after a crash that happened around 2:30 this morning in Durham. The WRAL breaking news tracker was on the scene after a car hit a tree near Hope Valley Road and Garrett Road. This happened in a parking lot of a realty company. Police say they do not believe that alcohol was a factor.
And Michelle, deputies are searching for a man they say shot and killed a gas station clerk during an armed robbery. And this happened in Harnett County just after 11 p.m. this past Saturday. Now, what we're going to show you here is surveillance video at the Marathon gas station at the corner of Highway 87 and Broadway Road. Notice this man dressed in black clothing seen entering the store and then wander behind the counter. You can also see what appears to be the gun in his hand. The clerk in the video is 50-year-old Alfredo Mares, and he moves out of the way. The robber then uses a gun to hit a customer standing in front of the counter. Then the robber shot Mares. The Harnett County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with information to please come forward.
If you're trying to get your real ID before requirements start in 2 days, expect some long lines and wait times at the DMV. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Avon Ferry Road, DMV there. And the DMV preparing for a very busy week. Lots of people lining up for this, Kelsey.
Yes, Michelle, we've seen people lining up here since 5 o'clock this morning, so you can see that the line is still very long right now. The DMV has tried to cut down on wait times, but they could only get worse now that people have 2 days left to get a real ID. Starting Wednesday, you will need a real ID or another acceptable form of ID to fly in the U.S. If you've gotten a new ID in the last few years, it could already be a real ID. If you're not sure if you have one, just look for a star in the upper right corner of your driver's license. Last month, the North Carolina DMV expanded their work hours at 42 locations. Now, most DMV offices are open 10 hours a day statewide. But that still may not be enough to cut wait times as people are scrambling to meet the May 7th deadline. Tangi Thompson started waiting in line at 5 o'clock this morning.
It is like an inconvenience having to get up so early, though, but I know that it's something that I need to do.
And we just saw her leave the parking lot a couple of minutes ago. So we know that the DMV will still issue these real IDs after that May 7th deadline. So they say it's no rush to get this unless you have plans to fly really soon. But coming up in the next 10 minutes, 5 on Your Side will explain how your passport may come in handy if you don't make the deadline. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And the deadline for bills set by North Carolina House and Senate leaders is this week. It's called Crossover Week. It's generally used as a way to separate the bills that have a chance at passing from the hundreds of others that don't. With lawmakers trying to get their top priority bills through, we can expect to see long voting sessions. Today, House members are expected to consider more than 20 bills. One of those bills would ban social media accounts for children under 14 without a parent's approval. Now kids do find ways to get around these bans. As WRAL's NC Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie explains, this bill would hold social media companies accountable for those loopholes.
So the bill would allow the state to fine these social media companies $50,000 for every kid that slips through the cracks and manages to open up an account. Parents would also be able to sue the social media companies for as much as $10,000 in damages.
Another bill they'll be debating would give parents more access to their children's medical records and conversations had with their doctor. Supporters say parents need more access to that information. Critics fear that children won't get the help they need if they know their parents will have access to those records. We'll be watching all of these bills closely. Make sure to tune in to WRAL this afternoon from 4 to 7:30 for updates.
And Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center with some updates to a story we've been following the overnight hours of mass shooting in Arizona outside a restaurant. There are 3 people now confirmed dead. 5 others were also injured in that shooting. It happened in Glendale, Arizona, a Phoenix suburb there. Police say they believe there was more than one shooter involved. One eyewitness said he heard more than 20 gunshots. This was at a celebration at a restaurant that had families and children there, hundreds of people. Officers have detained several people. No arrests have officially been announced out of this, but investigators say they are still trying to figure out what led up to that shooting.
That's just terrible. Thank you, Jeff. A motorcyclist is dead after a crash in Fayetteville. It happened on Pamela Drive just before 10 o'clock last night. The rider died at the scene. Their name has not been released yet. We are working to learn what caused that crash.
A man accused of kidnapping a mother and her baby will make his first court appearance today. Eliodoro Estrada Hernandez is charged with 2 counts of kidnapping, possession of a firearm by a felon, and assault too. The FBI arrested him in Knightdale on Friday. And investigators say Estrada Hernandez and 2 others kidnapped the mother and her daughter last Tuesday, but they were found unharmed the same day in Wake Forest.
Jury selection in the federal trial for Sean Diddy Combs starts today. According to sources, at least 4 witnesses expected to testify are accusers who have filed civil suits against the music mogul. The central witness is Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend. Combs faces charges of sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty.
Covering Wake County, today the county manager plans to unveil their recommended budget for spending your tax dollars. It'll include a plan for different programs and activities for the 2026 fiscal year. The budget presentation is happening tonight, that's at 5, and the county also plans to hold 2 public hearings, May 19th and 20th. Those are meant to get your feedback on how your money's being spent. A car crashed into a modular classroom at Jordan High School in Durham, and that's why building inspectors will have to assess the damage there. The crash happened around 7:30 last night, and the car was lodged beneath the trailer. And the impact was so strong, the classroom was knocked from its foundation. Police say 1 person had minor injuries, but they haven't said what caused that crash to begin. Your time is 8:39. Convening for conclave as we're giving you a live look at the Vatican in Rome, what you can expect this week as cardinals arrive to vote on the next pope.
And restarting student loans, a major change today for thousands of student loan borrowers in North Carolina. What this means for people whose payments are in default.
You know what? Bonus live camera, Zebulon this time. Another chance for storms today. It's a WRAL weather alert day, which is why meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will explain what it takes for this repetitive pattern to finally break.
It's 8:42 and a beautiful start out here on the patio, but it may not end that way. We do have a WRAL weather alert day for today. Between noon and 6 o'clock, we may have some isolated cells that produce wind damage or hail. This is not going to be a widespread event. It's just a level 1 risk. And you can see where that threat is from the triangle area eastward. The farther east you go, the better chance that there'll be some thunderstorms, especially along and east of I-95. We take a look at our hour-by-hour storm chances. Again, everything gets ramped up right around lunchtime and then begins to taper off once we get into the evening commute. So that's a good thing. Hopefully it won't be too wet for folks trying to head home from work. Our temperature this afternoon, feeling good at 80 degrees. By the time we get those thunderstorms moving through, our temperatures drop nicely into the low 70s by 7 o'clock.
Elizabeth, things are definitely improving out there. We're seeing those pockets of fog as we look live at the northern loop of the Beltline. This is I-440 and New Bern Avenue. The southern loop, things are definitely getting better. There's I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, those westbound lanes moving away from us and moving along at a nice steady clip, which is really good news. You can see the fog is really beginning to dissipate to the east of Raleigh. I'll have more coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. We do want to give you a live look at the Vatican in Rome, where cardinals from all across the world are going to gather there to help elect the next pope during what's known as conclave. The final day of mourning was held yesterday for Pope Francis with a mass in Vatican City, and Pope Francis died April 21st at the age of 88. This coming Wednesday, cardinals will begin voting for who will be the next leader of the Catholic Church.
After years of postponed deadlines, the REAL ID deadline is nearly here. In just 2 days, Americans will have to have a REAL ID to travel through airport security. This is what it looks like. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains what to do if you don't have one in time and how scammers are trying to take advantage of the situation.
First, check your driver's license. If it has a star in the corner, that means you already have your REAL ID. And according to the DMV, about 52% of North Carolinians do. But that means that 4.1 million residents in the state who have a driver's license do not have the REAL ID version. And of course, many folks are trying very hard to get one right now. Do not let scammers take advantage of the situation.
If you start Googling for, fast tracking, how do I get my REAL ID sooner, then there'll be these websites that will promise for a fee that can get you REAL ID faster. And not only do you lose the fee, but then you give them your personal information. And there is no fast track. There is no third-party organization that can actually accelerate your REAL ID.
Remember, you need your REAL ID for air travel domestically starting May 7th. While it is not a replacement for a passport, you still need one to travel internationally. You can use it in lieu of a REAL ID. And veterans also have another option. They can use their Veteran Health Identification Card. Finally, children, you do not need an ID. Anyone younger than 18 does not need one. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Flooding in an ancient city in Jordan forced hundreds of tourists to evacuate. You can see right here, heavy rainfall yesterday caused flash flooding near Petra. News agencies there say people were evacuated and entry to the city was suspended. Authorities say no one was injured during this.
Warren Buffett will step down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway at the end of the year. He made the announcement at the company's annual shareholders meeting over the weekend. The 94-year-old spoke about tariffs during the meeting as well. He called them, quote, a big mistake and said they could be considered an act of war. Buffett does plan to remain as board chair at Berkshire Hathaway when Vice Chairman Greg Abel takes over as CEO next year. And former Vice President Mike Pence is this year's recipient of the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award. The event to present him the award happened in Boston yesterday. He was honored for overseeing the certification of the 2020 presidential election results. In a statement, the JFK Library Foundation recognized Pence for putting his life and career on the line.
A wildfire on the coast burned 1,500 acres, and crews are saying that it is only 10% contained. The fire is burning in Brunswick County near Boiling Spring Lakes. What you're seeing here is video from Saturday as the flames began to spread. The mayor of Boiling Spring Lakes says that he is expecting conditions there to get much worse.
This is probably going to last a few days. We were lucky, no structures burned yesterday. They fought very hard to keep the structures all home safe. But today we just got to pay attention and make sure they're doing their job, and we got to let them do their job.
The Red Cross is helping about a dozen people who evacuated their homes.
UNC hired Bill Belichick as its head football coach to get serious about football. But lately, attention has been drawn away from the field and toward Belichick's relationship with his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. WRAL's Pat Welter breaks down the twist that's put a kink in a Chapel Bill story.
Not talking about this.
No.
No.
This story boiled over after last weekend's CBS News Sunday morning interview. Social media exploded, and now Hudson is the lead of every entertainment outlet in the country. In a vacuum, interrupting this interview doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it's part of a greater whole. Bill Belichick built his career on no distractions. This has become a giant one.
I didn't come here to leave.
At Belichick's opening press conference, Hudson was there, but in the background. She didn't do interviews. She didn't make the day about herself. I figured given the 49-year age gap, they'd probably like to keep it that way. It has been the opposite since. Hudson was with Belichick in their Super Bowl commercial. She stole the red carpet at the NFL Honors. She was on the field for Carolina's Practice Like a Pro event. According to emails obtained by The Athletic, she's copied on all emails sent to Belichick and is involved in the program's social media and PR strategy. Okay, they want to spend time together at work. She's 24, social media and PR strategy are her wheelhouse. Fine, but maybe the most alarming revelation is from Realtor.com. Hudson has been piecing together a New England real estate profile worth $8 million since 2023. Belichick and Hudson met on a flight to Palm Beach in 2021. The couple's romantic relationship went public in June of 2024. We don't know that's Bill's money, but it seems like a lot.
And Belichick says the CBS interview that sparked the recent controversy was selectively edited, and he says it suggests a false narrative that Hudson was attempting to control the conversation.
The Carolina Hurricanes' second-round series in the Stanley Cup playoffs gets started tomorrow night in Washington. The Capitals will host Game 1 as well as Game 2, which is on Thursday. Puck drop for both games is at 7 p.m. The Canes will return to Lenovo Center for Games 3 on Saturday and 4. That will be a week from tonight. Tickets are on sale right now.
Thunderbolts is the new top movie at the box office. The latest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe features Misfits and Outcasts banding together. It brought $76 million in its opening weekend. Sinners lost the top spot but stayed in a strong second place. The action horror movie brought in $33 million this weekend. That brings the 3-week total to $180 million.
Just a reminder, today is a WRAL weather alert day. We have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio getting you started for your Monday.
All right, we take a look at what's happening. This is our next weather maker. It's a stalled front over us. It's going to bring us another round of showers and thunderstorms. And we've been in sort of this blocked pattern for the last several days. We had some rain Friday, of course, Saturday, Sunday, and then here we are with it again. But this is the last day before it moves on out. It's a level 1 risk for severe storms from the Triangle area eastward. But the farther east you go, the better chance you'll see some storms. A level 1 risk means that just a few isolated cells could produce wind damage. So it's the lowest risk, and very few storms will pop up, but there certainly could be 1 or 2 or a handful. Between noon and 6 o'clock is the timeline for the potential for some wind damage or hail. Those are going to be our 2 biggest threats. And we take a look at Futurecast, and it's been a pretty quiet morning. We've had some fog. We had a dense fog advisory that expires just in about 10 minutes from now, and the conditions have really improved. You might still see a little bit of low cloud cover in a few places, but not bad at all. At lunchtime, you can see a couple of cells developing from, say, Durham northward. We'll pause it there at about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and a few of those do blow up again from the Triangle area eastward. This is a brand new run of the computer models with maybe a few more cells than the last run, but it's still pretty isolated for us. There's 5 o'clock, and by the time we get to 6 o'clock, we're really done with this, and that's it for several days. This is a look at RDU. Lots and lots of sunshine there at RDU right now, 63 degrees. There was fog there earlier. That was the observation from about 50 minutes or so ago. Dew point's at 60, so there's definitely moisture in the atmosphere. I had to put the hair in a ponytail, just too muggy. 55 in Roxborough, 63 in Raleigh, 59 in Southern Pines, and 65 over in Rocky Mount. It's 62 in Cary and Apex, 64 in Garner, so it feels real comfortable out here right now. Our temperatures this afternoon will be in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. It will be a little muggy, and of course, we'll have those afternoon thunderstorms that we'll have to deal with. Notice what happens behind this. Look at that low temperature for tonight, 56 degrees, and then again Wednesday at 55. So we are going to be back to jacket weather. It's a little cool out here right now, so jackets for the next couple of mornings. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday really look like nice days, and then Friday will be our next weather maker. It'll bring us some showers and maybe even a few thunderstorms. Temperatures will be much cooler on Friday at 71, but right now it looks nice and dry and comfortable for Mother's Day weekend. And no, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Before we go to break, here's your winning lottery numbers. Good luck.